Hello everyone, it's the Red Gamer here, and today I'm going to do part 1 of a 3-part series based on the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy. I dive into the politics of the series and the social commentary aspect prevalent throughout the games. Today, we have GTA 3 Definitive Edition on tap. The Grand Theft Auto series is one of the best-selling game franchises of all time, and the impact that these games have had on the gaming industry is incalculable. Rockstar set the standard for an open-world crime narrative that functions as a sandbox to go and enjoy with a finely tailored story to tie it all together. Games such as Mafia, Saints Row, Cyberpunk, Sleeping Dogs aren't possible if it wasn't for Rockstar walking the line so other games could flourish alongside. Make no mistake, in a large way, Grand Theft Auto is a commentary of how exactly the American political system functions. The idea that we're a criminal working our way through the ranks of the underworld comes with a stark reality of corruption that is inherent to the capitalist system we function under. Organized crime is a reality of that system, and Grand Theft Auto pokes fun at that idea. What we get is a nice evolution through the trilogy of how exactly that concept looks through space and time in an open world sandbox. The trilogy itself is really flawed, as Rockstar gave the responsibility of creating the definitive edition to Grove Street Games, the company that was behind the mobile versions of Grand Theft Auto, neglecting the care and consideration that such classics deserve. And although many don't appreciate having a mobile game ported to console, the experience is still a good one for someone who hasn't played the original game. GTA 3 set a good standard, but the reality of it is that it's certainly a good starting point, but it is arguably the weakest of the 3 trilogy games. It's still cut from the same cloth, and as such I designate GTA 3 as the eldest of the 3 boys. He laid the groundwork so that his little brothers could go on to do excellent things. The parents, of course, being GTA 1 and 2. I'm playing the definitive edition because it was easy to do so on my PlayStation 5 with GTA Plus. So if you're looking for an easy way to access a bunch of Rockstar games, I would recommend GTA Plus. When I started this playthrough, GTA felt very nostalgic but also new. I had played it before but couldn't recall the full storyline, so it was good to experience that. It quickly came back down to earth, and the storyline, although interesting in a general perspective, it wasn't as substantive as future games would go on to be. It became kind of difficult to grind through the game at times because the story wasn't that interesting. But storyline aside, the game was still fun and straightforward. You have the main story missions, there are payphone missions, and then you can do taxi, paramedic, and vigilante missions. I considered trying to do the platinum trophy, but ultimately didn't because, it wouldn't be an effective use of my time right now, as I have to get through this trilogy and then start Red Dead Redemption. The game is set in Liberty City, which is an interpretation of New York City. And let's just say I will admit the starting introduction to the game is notable. The music that plays is definitely one of the best songs of the trilogy. If GTA 3 has Vice City and San Andreas beat in anything, it's the intro music. The starting scene is a bank robbery, and we quickly see our protagonist get betrayed by his girlfriend and left to die and face charges of armed robbery. As he's being transported to prison, there's a jailbreak, and he's busted out and escapes with 8 Ball and begins to work for the Leone crime family.
Liberty City is in shock today as the police and emergency services deal with the aftermath of a devastating attack on a police convoy this morning. As yet, no details have been released about the prisoners being transferred in the convoy, and no group has claimed responsibility. The convoy left police headquarters early this morning for a routine transfer of felons to Liberty Penitentiary. The attack took place on the Callahan Bridge, leaving few witnesses and the bridge itself severely damaged. Some of the convicts are thought to have perished in the explosion that followed the initial attack. Revelations as to the professionalism of the attack struck police hours afterward, when identification of the missing felons were further hampered by an attack by computer hackers on police headquarters databases. With the Porter Tunnel project falling behind schedule, this disaster leaves Portland isolated from the rest of the city.
Come on! Senor Dickhead! It's no problem to kill you. You're gonna be sorry. Aye, get lost.
I know a place on the edge of the red light district where we can lay low, but my hands are all messed up, so you better drive, brother.
8-Ball is an explosives expert, and as such, he has ties to organized crime. The first few missions serve to teach us to play the game. We go and pick up some girls for Luigi, who's our first contact with the Leone family, and this helps us to get comfortable driving around the map. The next mission shows us basic combat as we beat up someone with a bat, and so on and so forth until we end up shooting guns. We end up meeting Joey Leone, the son of the boss of the Leone crime family. He's voiced by Michael Rappaport, and that definitely made the experience a little more annoying having to hear him. But essentially, the first arc of the game consists of Claude, the silent protagonist, doing work for the Italian mob, one of the Italian mobs in Liberty City. Luigi is essentially a pimp and has you going around as a chauffeur and enforcer for his racket. The Joey Leone missions just show the progression into the organization. We do some odds and ends for the son of the boss, and eventually we're in the good graces of the mafia. One of the antagonists we see within GTA III is the Colombian cartel and their spank that they're producing. I imagine it's something like cocaine, but I guess, cocaine would have been too easy to just do at this point in time. Later games in the trilogy focus directly on actual cocaine. I don't know if in 2001 it just wasn't appropriate to label it cocaine or whatever, but spank is the big deal, the big thing that's kind of wrecking Liberty City right now. And the Leone family doesn't appreciate that the Colombian cartel and their operations, and as such a confrontation is brewing. the Leones are also at war with the Triads. So through Joey Leone, you end up meeting Tony Cipriani, a capo of the Leone crime family, and subsequently, you help him deal with his Triad beef. The Leone beef with the Triads, it's not just his, but he's a capo, so of course he's going to need help. Some of the cutscenes, you see a funny dynamic between Tony Cipriani and his mother. It's like a tough mama's boy, and he sort of resembles Tony Soprano in a subtle way.
Any protection, huh? The Triads think they can mess with me? Let's teach these would-be tough guys what it means to be a tough guy. Sorry, Ma. Yes, Ma. I want you to destroy their laundry vans and mangle any Triad gimp that gets in your way. 8-Ball can supply you with what you're gonna need.
Tony's off making people bleed. Or trying to. He'll never be as tough as his pop. But he left you a note on the table.
The laundry has agreed to pay. You did real good, kid. Go collect.
At the end of your missions with Cipriani, the war with the Triads hits a climax, and you end up picking up Joey, Tony, and Luigi, and you drive over to Salvatore's. You get attacked by the Triads on your way there, and Claude shows his competency getting them there safe. It is at this moment you get introduced to the boss, Salvatore Leone, and you start doing missions for him.
Good back there, kid. Real good. Come on, let's introduce you to the Don.
Hey, Luigi!
Oh, my girls have been missing you so long, Salvatore. You've been away too long.
You tell them once this unfortunate business is taken care of, we'll all go down to the club and celebrate, okay? It's my boy.
How you doing, Pop?
You got yourself a good woman yet? Hey, your mother, God bless her soul, would be turning over in her grave to see you without a wife.
I know, Pop. I'm working on it.
Tony! How's your mama? She's a great woman, you know. Strong. Firenze.
She's good. Fine.
Terrific, terrific. Now listen, you guys, you go inside while I talk to our new friend here. I see nothing but good things for you, my boy.
In the first mission, Chaperone, you take the limo and Maria out around town to help her run her errands. At the end of this mission, it becomes kind of obvious that Maria has a crush on Claude, and as such, this kind of, shapes up the next story arc.
Well, you don't think I hang around here for the conversation, do you?
Get in the car and keep your big mouth shut. Take the limo, but bring it back in one piece, you hear me? And watch her. She can be trouble.
Yeah. I'm sure your new lapdog has everything covered. And isn't he big and strong? Hey, Fighter, let's go visit Chico and get some party treats. He's at the rail station at the Chinatown waterfront, I think.
Mira, it's my favorite lady. You're looking for some fun? A little, some spank?
Hey, Chico. Nah, just the usual.
Here you go, lady. Hey, maybe you should check out the warehouse party at the east end of Atlantic Keys.
Thanks, Chico. See you around.
Gracias. And enjoy. That's good stuff.
4-5 to all units. This is narcotics rate Atlantic Keys.
Salvatore starts
Colombian
to step
cartel
up
is
his
making
war against the
spank somewhere in
Colombians and
Liberty,
has you
but
trail
we
the
don't know
suspected
where.
informers.
And they seem to know everything we're doing before we do. We got us a rat. There's a guy named Curly Bob, works the bar at Luigi's. He's been throwing more money around than he's earning. He ain't pimping or pushing, so he must be talking. He usually gets a taxi home after work, so follow him. And if he's ratting us out, kill him.
Here comes our little friend, Mr. Big Mouth himself.
Were you followed? You know what goes on here is our little secret, amigo.
No, I wasn't followed. You got my stuff?
Here's your spank, squealer. Now talk.
Okay, so the Leons are fighting wars on two fronts. They're in a turf war with the Triads, with no sign of either side giving up. Meanwhile, Joey Leone has stirred up some bad blood with the Forellis. Every day they're losing men and influence in the city. Salvatore's becoming dangerous and paranoid. He expects everybody and everything.
And with loyalty like yours, what has he possibly got to worry about?
While at war with the Triads and the Colombians, Claude hits the Colombians where it hurts, and with the help of 8-Ball manages to sink one of the ships in which they're making their spank.
From pushing that spank crap. If we make an open attack on them, they'll wipe the floor with us. They must be making spank on that big boat that Curly led you to. So we gotta use our heads, or rather one head, your head. I'm asking you to destroy that spank factory as a personal favor to me, Salvatore Leone. If you do this for me, you will be a made man. Anything you want. Go and see 8-Ball. You'll need his expertise to blow up that boat.
Yo, my man. Salvatore phoned ahead, but a job like this is gonna need a lot of fireworks. I'll need $100,000 to cover expenses. But you know with me, you get a lot of bang for your buck. Come back, brother, when you have the money. Okay, let's do this then. I can set this baby to detonate, but I still can't use a piece with these hands. Here, this rifle should help you pop some heads.
A suckling pig at a pagan banquet. Is your next ideal home improvement a moat? Well, get ready, Liberty City.
This weekend and every weekend at Liberty City Park, it's the Medieval Millennium Fair. Our band of traveling minstrels, knights, and maidens oh so fair are ready to delight you with tales of the Black Death, witch burnings, and the joys of...
After essentially bailing out the Leones, the boss betrays Claude and tries to give him over to the cartel.
It's my favorite cleaner. I'm proud of you, my boy. You kicked the shit out of those grease balls. I just got one little job for you before we can all celebrate. There's a car around the block from Luigi's club. The inside is covered in brains. We had to help some guy make up his mind, and it proved a little messy. Take it to the crusher before the cops find it.
Maria warns you of the betrayal, and you end up meeting with her to get out of Portland. Maria confirms to you that she did tell Salvatore that she was, with Claude, and that essentially made Claude a marked man in Mafia turf.
Listen, Salvatore thinks that we're going behind his back, so he was offering you to the cartel in order to make a deal. I couldn't let him do that. I mean, the worst thing is, it's all my fault because I told him we were an item. Don't ask me why, I don't know. Look, you're a marked man on the Mafia turf, and I've got to get out of here, too. I've seen too much killing, too much blood. This is a friend of mine, okay? She's an old friend. It's so good. She's someone we can trust.
Come on, enough of the speeches. We better get out of here before we get more hysterical Italians wanting less friendly reunions.
Asuka and I are gonna have to talk. Why don't you go cruise around?
You'll need a place to lie low. There's a warehouse at the edge of Belleville that should suit your needs. Come back here to my condo when you're ready, and you and me can have a little chat.
Maria has a friend, Asuka, who is in the Yakuza. Claude ends up killing Leone to prove he severed his ties with the mob, on behalf of the Yakuza. And Claude ends up subsequently doing, more work for Asuka and her brother Kenji. Through Asuka, you meet their man in the LPD, Ray Machowski, and you start doing work for him.
It's my handsome handyman. Maria's all tied up at the moment, but I'll tell her you called.
What's that, Asuka? I know I've been a naughty girl, but I really need to pee, okay?
It's time you met our man inside the LPD. Here's a payment for the last little job he did for us. He is understandably cautious. Get to the payphone in Torrington as quick as you can and await his instructions.
That scumbag, McCaffrey! He took more bribes than anyone. He thinks he's gonna get an honorable discharge if he turns state evidence. He just squealed. He's under armed protection in Witchek property down in Newport, some apartment behind a car park. Torch that place. That's it. Flush him out and you hunt him down. Make sure he never talks to nobody.
In one mission called Arms Shortage, you help a friend of Ray's who he met in Nicaragua.
An old army buddy of mine runs a business in Rockford. We saw action in Nicaragua back when the country knew what it was doing. Anyway, some cartel scum roughed him up yesterday. Said they'd be back for some of his stock today. He's gonna need backup, and in return, he'll give you knockdown rates on any hardware you buy. I'd go myself, but the old sciatica's playing up. So, good luck.
I found this interesting because Ray literally said the words, "We saw action in Nicaragua, back when the country knew what it was doing." Which to me is some funny, tried and true Cold War Red Scare propaganda. I don't know if you're familiar with Gary Webb, but it seems that the CIA in some capacity was selling drugs to the inner cities of Los Angeles and beyond to fund the Contras in Nicaragua. The Sandinista government in Nicaragua had successfully toppled the Somoza regime and had created a socialist state in Central America. The US-funded right-wing guerrillas tried to topple the Sandinista government, but failed. A lot of backfire came as a result of this. The Iran-Contra scandal, suspected drug trafficking, all in the name of defeated communism. It really makes you wonder, if you're fighting communism like that, what exactly does that make you if not a fascist? And the social engineering is really serving to throw bodies in prisons and coffins. GTA seems to be diving into some really deep topics early on in their life as a gaming franchise, and with time it just gets deeper and better, and it starts to make a little more sense. And you know, of course, they cloud it. They're never going to directly say, hey, yeah, this is what the government did. They kind of just speculate. But, you know, they're pulling this from somewhere. They're not just making this stuff up. You know, they heard it somewhere. We helped Ray's friend, who is literally missing an arm, by being a pair of hands to help fight off the Colombians that were coming to try and extort him. The mission title name comes full story, arms shortage, because the guy literally was missing an arm. Ha 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 ha. Funny. It's actually pretty damn funny for 2001. But yeah, we successfully help, and then an arsenal gets opened up for us, and I believe this is Phil Cassidy. He sells us weapons. So it's kind of just an expansion of the arsenal we have available to us, which is pretty cool.
Hey, if I teamed up with you in Nicaragua, maybe I'd still have my arm. If you need any firepower, just drop by and take what you need from the lockers. Leave the cash under the bench. Now get out of here. I'll handle the cops.
So further, the work we do with Ray is in regards to his dealings and corruption. One mission, we had to get rid of evidence by ramming and intercepting it from the vehicle it was in before it got to its location. Each individual mission is interesting, but I feel like the plot wasn't tied together well. Everyone is at odds with the Colombians, but they also threw a love story of sorts somewhere it didn't necessarily belong. And at that point, I started to question how well thought out is this story actually. Things get interesting when we meet Donald Love, a billionaire multimedia mogul who has shady written all over him.
Price, but groups of men get greedy. A valued resource, an old Oriental gentleman I know, has been kept hostage by some South Americans in Espatria. They're trying to extort additional funds from me, but I don't believe in renegotiation. A deal is a deal, so they'll not see a penny from me. Go and rescue my friend. Do whatever it takes.
Phil's marriage is saved.
He seems to be in bed with the Colombians, but also in a league for himself, because you help him spark a war between the Yakuza and the Colombians by killing Kenji in a cartel cruiser.
Nothing drives down real estate prices like a good old-fashioned gang war, apart from an outbreak of plague, but that might be going too far in this case. I've noticed the Yakuza and the Colombians are far from friends. Let's capitalize on this business opportunity. I want you to kill the Yakuza Wakagashira, Kenji Kassen. Kenji is attending a meeting at the top of the multi-story car park in Newport. Get a cartel gang car and eliminate him. The Yakuza must blame the cartel for this declaration of war.
Ray ends up bailing out of town because, as he says, the CIA has vested interest in Spank and they don't like us screwing with the cartel. It seems that art imitates life, and we help Ray get to the airport and leave town. We end up getting some goodies from Ray's stash for our effort.
Good. This is it. I'm way over my head and I'm starting to drown here. The CIA seems to have a vested interest in Spank, and they don't like us screwing with the cartel. I'm a marked man, so I'm getting out of here. Get me to my fight at the airport, and I'll make it worth your while. Here's the key to the lockup. You'll find some cash and some supplies I stashed in case things go tight. See you around.
The mission Grand Theft Auto brings us face to face with the Colombians as they stole Donald Love's package.
Thank you for retrieving those
and it brings us to a
packages, but they were
construction
only a
site
decoy.
in Staten
Sorry
Island.
about that, but that's sometimes the way in business. My real objective was hidden on the plane all along. Unfortunately, the port authorities seized the plane and were stripping it down until I intervened at great personal expense. Cross the bridge to Shoreside Vale and go to Francis International Airport. I've paid off the officials. My property will be waiting for you at the customs hangar in the aircraft fuselage.
Hey, let's get this out of here. God knows what it is, but he seems to want it badly enough, so it must be worth something.
Who the heck?
You!
Hey, take it easy, amigo. No es nada, no es nada.
I left you pouring your heart out into the gutter!
Hey, don't shoot, amigo. No problem. We all friends? Here,
Don't be
take
such a
this.
pussy!
Hey, we got no choice, baby. Yeah.
We always got a choice, you dumb bastard.
Catalina escapes, but Asuka is there and vows to hunt down and kill all you Colombian dogs because she believes that they're the ones that killed Kenji. The final push is essentially drawing out the cartel to try and kill Catalina. In the process, Catalina kidnaps Maria, and essentially the finale is you saving her and killing Catalina.
I'll be operating on our friend here to extract information and a little pleasure. You, drop by later. I'm sure I'll require your services.
Please, amigo. Don't leave me here with her, man. She's psycho, chico, man. Please, amigo. Hey, amigo. Amigo.
The real question is, did you turn up to rescue Maria or to get me back? But dating you was only business. You have been a busy boy, but you haven't learned. I'm not to be trusted. Kill the idiot!
Residents in Cedar Grove have been coming to terms with the emotional aftermath of a full-blown war that hit the area yesterday. Local resident Clive Denver described to police a single gunman that he saw fleeing the scene with a dark-haired woman.
Oh, we're gonna have such fun, because, you know, I love you. I really do, because you're such a big, strong man, and that's just what I need. Anyway, what was I saying? I forget, but you know what it's like, don't you?
The sound of explosions shook nearby homes as people ran for cover. Several citizens were injured in the panic as gunfire was exchanged between ground forces and a helicopter circling the dam.
Yeah, we got a good view from down here in the gardens. When the copter finally got taken out, better than the fireworks on the 4th of July.
With the death toll already over 20, police are still finding bodies. There have been no official denials concerning rumors that the dead were members of the Colombian cartel, and still no leads as to the cause of the massacre.
And you walk off into the sunset with your apparent love interest, which again raises a lot of questions because at various points it seemed as though Asuka and Maria kind of had a thing going on, but maybe Claude played into that as well, so it's still plausible just because Asuka and Maria had something going that Maria and Claude weren't also a thing. But you know, it was more so poking fun than an actual love story of sorts. That's the game. A very interesting, provocative, open world sandbox that was very good for 2001. It holds up well in 2024, but obviously it's going to have its limitations. But the whole social commentary of the Grand Theft Auto series is one of the strongest elements, if not the strongest elements, that makes it so fun. And it was really neat to see the third iteration, but for many, the first of what would come to be the biggest games of all time. If not for GTA 3, we don't get Vice City, or San Andreas, or GTA 4, 5, Red Dead Redemption, and maybe so many other Rockstar games. As such, this game deserves its respect in the pantheon of greats. But the next one really ties some things together and expands on what GTA 3 laid out. And boy, was it fun and vibrant compared to its older brother. Vice City expands on everything 3 did well and brings us a really fun story in the 80s. Vice City or Miami. See us next time for Miami Vice meets Scarface. And please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and share this content far and wide. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys next time for Vice City.